So apparently this is telling me I'm live. I don't know, no one's watching. It's okay. Um, Hello everybody. My last video's got like 30 views or something like that, so I'm not concerned. But the reason I'm doing this live is because the project is no one unscripted, meaning I don't really care about myself nor about, um, you know, something that is scripted. So if I were to post a video that was premiering on YouTube, it wouldn't really be live, right? So it wouldn't be unscripted. It would be something that, and I did that with the previous video. I recorded it, and I figured instead of doing that, since I want to be unscripted when talking about the discussions that I'm talking about, then I might as well go live. And there's someone watching. Oh my goodness! Hi, hello, how are you? Um, so today I'm going to talk about words that start with G, and because there's a lot, and there's a lot happening in the world right now, right? I never thought that my first video and the video about wearing a mask as a fashion statement would be relevant this quickly, but here we are. To be safe, I didn't say anything about like a pandemic happening, but disaster happening is disaster, like something that would break the camel's back. And here we are, it's broken the camel's back, or it's breaking the camel's back, the camel being government, society, everything that we find to be the world that we have grown accustomed to. Now, I think the reason for coronavirus is literally the virus, right? But a virus cannot thrive in a vacuum. So as we speak and as we research about it, as we find out more about this, we realize that it is actually a systemic failure of governments throughout the world and leaders who are in government throughout the world to be able to address a situation that directly and acutely harms and affects how human society has developed for the past 2,000 years. And many say that, oh, we've had many pandemics before, we've had epidemics before. Yes, we have. But can you please think the last time you can think of that there is a pandemic, a disease that has swept the planet in 3 months' time? Almost every country in the world has it now. And it's reaching 1 million cases today. And that may be because we have the technology to find that out, maybe because we have whistleblowers like the doctor who died in China for reporting on coronavirus. It's because we have leaders like that. That's a leader. That's a leader who understands that their cause in life is bigger than themselves, right? But somehow the leaders, the politics that we have become so complacent towards, that we put in positions of power, and then we make fun of them or criticize them or whatever it is, we have created this dysfunction around us, and so let's talk about government, right? Government. What's govern? Govern is to steward, is to take care of, is to manage. I don't know if you ever watched Sound of Music or any of those amazing movies of old where rich people had governesses for their children. Today we call them nannies. But governesses were more than nannies, though, because they took care of the education and the well-being of children and everything else. In the house, not household work, but that pertained to the kids. Now, so governing involves stewardship, this immense responsibility that you have a vested interest in taking care of the things that you are responsible for, because otherwise those things will die. Like farmers not tending to their crops die. Gardeners not tending to their flowers don't bloom. That's what happens when governors, when people who are meant to govern, who are meant to lead, who are meant to steward, and are given that charge by society, fail at their duty to do so. I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to point people. This is not about politics. This is not about politics. Yeah, this is important, right? Because politics and governance are two very different things. You know, governance is the implementation of laws and the preservation of society for the general welfare and of society, safety and general welfare of society. But politics is the business of governance. It's the more procedural part of governance. It's the dirty, actual kinetic part of the governance apparatus that needs to operate smoothly in order for it to translate into a government operating smoothly. Now, we've been in this place for a long time. It's not the current administration in any country in the world. This has been going on for a long time. This is systematic. This is the oppression of people all over the world has happened for a long time, as long as kings have existed, and it's just taken another form. Today, oligarchy reigns, right? Oligarchy and money is power. That's what reigns today. And that has turned into this wealth disparity that has torn society, where billions and billions of people don't have food or don't have places for shelter, while there's 0.1 or 0.01% of the population that they don't have to worry. There's this fallacy that the rich and the poor are affected equally during this. No, they're not. I currently live in India, and if the price of potatoes right now per kilo is 30 rupees, which is about 40 cents a kilo in American dollars, 2 pounds, which is cheap American standards, but it's not cheap Indian standards, because the truth is that daily wage workers here don't even make $1 a day. Still. At the best, $2 a day, maybe $3 a day if they're really lucky. So for them, that 40 cents for 2 pounds of potatoes is a lot of money. When that 2 pounds of potato becomes 70 rupees, which is $1, what are they going to do? Right? So that problem, the people who are billionaires and multi-billionaires, they don't have to worry about. That problem Prince Charles didn't have to worry about when he was in Scotland isolated because he tested positive. But that's something that we have to worry about. That's something that I have to worry about. What am I going to do in the next month and a half when my money dries up? Is my government going to come for me? I'm an American citizen. I live abroad. Is the government going to help me? I don't know. Whose responsibility is it? Is it the responsibility of the people to take care of themselves during this time of global crisis, or is it the responsibility of leaders to govern for the benefit of everybody living and suffering through this? And while we suffer through this, we realize all the things that all the minutiae that stopped us from giving to the people that should be given to them for basic daily pay, for holidays, for sustainable living alternatives, for hygienic living alternatives, for medical care. I mean, we are the 21st century, but why does it feel like the fucking Black Plague? I don't know if I'm supposed to say F in a live thing or not, but excuse me. There's still one person, I don't know if that's me but how can I be watching me? But if you're still sticking around, thanks. I really, it's the silver lining is you have all these comedy people, late night show people. They're all doing this live stream and uploading and premiering, and they have this thing about, oh my God, look at me, I'm at home, I don't have any makeup, and I'm like, You don't. And has that changed your voice, your sense of humor? You know, has it changed your viewership? I don't think so. I think they still have millions and millions of people watching on YouTube. So this is the time of shedding that, right? So it's I guess the silver lining is that failed governments show what people can do. And if we can do this, if we can, you know, lock ourselves up in our houses and for our safety and somewhere for the safety of others who we care about, we can do anything. You know, we're compelled now to be agoraphobic. Luckily, I'm clinically agoraphobic. So I've been living a hermetic life as a painter and a writer and now a talker for the last 9 years. And life is not as difficult for me because maybe I guess somewhere I saw this coming. Not a pandemic. I'm not prophetic. But yeah. So governance. And the reason why governance has failed is because politics has become about greed and gluttony, right? And what greed and gluttony does, and this hoarding does, and this wealth disparity does, is that it just it perpetuates that cycle of greed and gluttony and wanting, and more people want to be more rich because the only way to get the things that they really, 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 really want is by getting rich. And this psychology, you know, has mucked up how money and happiness are so related, which, you know, many scientific studies have shown, no, that's not true. So there is a component to having some money in your bank account or some resources so you can feed yourself, but that's about it. So this, and in politics, the corruption in politics has, the greed and the infusion of money into politics has created this paradigm where governance is actually driven not by the responsibility to the greater good, but it is given by being beholden to the biggest bank account holder. And that is, I mean, I don't know if you can blame capitalism, because capitalism is just an ideology. We have to put it into action. We have to put faith in the dollar. We have to say gold is worth something, worth more than the work of the common man. We put the value on gold. We put the value on coal. We put the value on oil. We put the value on airline tickets, and we put the value on what insurance should be and taxes should be. But we don't put the value on what the work, the amount of energy and the work and the effort that goes into it, the people that make it happen. And today we realize it, right? Today we realize that essential workers are not the workers who are lawyers and multimillionaire CEOs and billionaires, stock traders. They are the people who are serving you your food. They are the people who are cleaning your houses. They are the people who are cleaning the streets. They are the people who are taking care of you when you're ill, driving you places if you're rich. So the people, that's the object of democracy, is valuing the people. And it's ironic that there's no value in the people, because if there was value for the people, they would be given a living wage. They would be given security of housing. They'd be given security of healthcare, but they're not. And during this time of fear, during this time of this sort of systematic and institutional collapse, or oncoming collapse, or wherever you want to be, pessimistic, optimistic, glass is always half full. So, you know, we cannot isolate ourselves, even though we are physically isolated. And the blessing of the internet that I've talked about in my books since 2011, since I started my project, the Tribute Projects, I have talked about it, the miracle of the internet, the reason why everything needs to be looked at from a different perspective, how everything is different. Today, we wouldn't be informed as we are if it wasn't for the internet. We wouldn't be misinformed as we are either. But that is a choice that we have to make, right? We have to identify the fish from the plastic bottle in the ocean. So we have that responsibility. And I think if we are this austere now, and we have to be for the next month or however long, we will have nothing but time to think about this. And I think we should think about it. And we should realize that globalism, which I guess will be the last of the G's, is not bad. It's bad because it's mismanaged by corrupt leaders who peddle their own good and put a shell on it for, oh, I care about the people and the Constitution and this and that. But really, they're just hoarding money for themselves, or are being beholden to some ideology that is driven by money. Not the right way to go about it, people. Because everyone is at a dearth of money right now. And at some point, the masses will go to the banks and to the billionaires and to the homes of these people and ask for it. So globalism in terms of information, globalism in terms of self-restrained action, globalism in terms of dissemination of food and aid globally, to global security. It's not something new. Over 100 years ago, people like Gandhi and people like Einstein and Tagore, Nobel laureates, and real leaders talked about it. They thought about it. That the only alternative to humanity's collapse at this point, and they're talking 100 years ago, was a consolidation of world governments and dissolution of borders with only one major mission: the general welfare and safety of the people. It can be divided up in any denomination from county level, municipality level, all the way up to the global level, and digitized and monitored. Governance, not people. There should be no public office that doesn't have a people's camera in it. So we know what's going on underneath the table, yeah? So they don't have privacy when they are elected officials. They don't. Yeah, classified meetings, yeah, they can be. Classified meetings can be made private for people who are in positions of making decisions. But that's about that. So we need to think, we need to upend the system in which we live. We need to start thinking about it now. And we need to start thinking about it in a constructive way, not in a way that leaders are to blame or corrupt politicians are to blame. No, we stood by and watched them. We voted for them. We chose not to learn. We chose not to see, despite the internet's been around for as long as I've been alive, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit less. Gray hair coming in everywhere. Soon I have to wear masks. I don't want to wear masks. Anyway, well, although I did start wearing masks, I have all these masks over there, all these masks. Anyway, I think it's still one person. I think it's just still me. So I'll just keep on saying thank you very much for watching me, or you, or whoever you are. I hope you watch again. But think about it. Think about life. Think about your government. Think about your society, because this is the time for it. And if you tell somebody to watch me and then come back and watch me again, I would be delighted if you commented. I'd be delighted if you wanted to conference and somehow we can Zoom. I promise I won't take a dump while live on YouTube or Zoom or whatever it is. Oh, that poor girl. Jennifer, what you doing, girl? Okay. Bye.